where the plug was pulled and you actually thought to yourself, well, hang on, have we finished the movie? Because it all happened very quickly, the crumbling domino effect. So it wasn't really until one got back that one realized that the film really wasn't quite finished.
Russell was out of his mind, and Peter and Bill were devastated because they only wanted to make a good movie and to finish it the way it started. But the Bond company was not flexible.
There was a sequence that we call the mountain chase sequence that we thought was really a sequence we had to have. We came into serious conflict with the bonding company on that sequence. We got into the shooting and they shut it down, and that's when they really said, we're taking this show over totally.
Highlander introduces you to a whole other world. This is the world of somebody who lives forever. This is what his room looks like. He's got 400 years of crap on the walls, you know. This is what it looks like.
It's almost like being on the time machine. I think this is something that everyone feels like they wish they could do this. They wish they could live forever. They wish they could experience everything. I think there's a certain melancholia involved in that also, which is a sweetness about the Highlander. He has to see things that he loves grow old and die.
It's difficult to cope with it in one life, but if you have to cope with it with 10 lives, it must be amazingly painful. Therefore, I think the most important is the positive side, the optimistic side of looking at life, and the incredible mental stamina that it requires to go through the ages and over the pain that comes with it.
We're all striving for immortality in some fashion, whether it's through our work as filmmakers or writing or artists or whatever. You're trying to do something that outlives you because, you know, unfortunately we're in these fragile bodies.
All those kinds of things are very powerful, and I think they resonate strongly and deeply in the human psyche.
By the time we got back to Los Angeles, the bonding company had totally taken the picture over. They had fired our editorial staff. They had brought their own editorial team onto the show.
It's not the high point of my career. I didn't see it to the end. I wasn't entirely happy with my first cut. I was very anxious to do the recut. And as it turned out, I wasn't given that opportunity.
You work hard in a film and it's your baby, so you try to not throw all the baby out with the bathwater. You know, you try to keep at least the head. I think was important to the film.
It was a complete nightmare. All of a sudden, people who had been allowed in the cutting room were not allowed in the cutting room. All the creative shifted. You had a new set of bosses. Different producers came in. At the end of the day, we're just like a horse with a different rider on it. And all of a sudden, this rider was like totally into purely finishing the film from an insurance company standpoint.
And they were going to deliver their cut as quickly, as economically as possible. And I must say that when we saw that cut, we weren't very happy, were we, Bill?
No, it was terrible.
There were holes in the film which we hadn't done, and story points and action sequences and whatever that hadn't been shot. I don't know. It wasn't quite the film that was planned, but it had a beginning and an end, and something in the middle.
They, in their infinite wisdom, decided that we would not be able to finish everything that we'd bitten off to chew, which we felt that we could. But they panicked at the last minute with like 3 weeks to go. They just chopped and moved things. So they gave a bunch of work to a company that really didn't give a damn about signing it or anything else. So what you have is a beautiful matte painting of the Shield complex in one shot that we finished. 5 minutes later in the movie, you see it again and it looks horrible. And that's why a lot of the movie goes up and down in terms of quality.
Decisions were made that had to be made. The film really wasn't in my hands anymore.
We basically got jerked around a bunch of different directions and then had to figure it out because we shot 50,000 feet of film for Shield elements. And by the time everybody got in the kitchen and started trying to agree on what this thing was going to look like, we wound up with 7 feet of film that everybody agreed out of 50,000. So you wound up with like a red shield stuck on top of a blue set, and by then it was too late because in their infinite wisdom they had said this will be done. And we were all just dying. I mean, you know, you look at it and go, it was never supposed to look like that. How did we get there? And it's like too many people going for the steering wheel, you know.
That is part of the price you pay. We went to the background until the turn came around again, as it always seems to do.
Then help arrived from an unexpected source. Nigel Green, who has the largest independent distributing company in England, and he said, I believe in this movie and I don't want this movie this way.
We just did not feel that even with the existing material that we had, that they had realized anything near what the material was capable of delivering. We went to work editorially, and the bonding company's cut was never used.
Highlander 2 gained immortality from the home video revolution. It bestowed the gift of not just one, but two opportunities to restore the original vision. First, in the Renegade version that reworked the story, and now the ultimate version with its reconceived visuals.
When we originally put together the Renegade version, the series was rolling along and the third movie was being done, and we decided it was time to go back and redo this to have it fit into the Highlander legend as it had been expanded.
Zeiss has been cut out and it's now on Earth in the distant past. So it's a little bit more palatable, and I think it makes the story smoother. I think the new storyline makes a lot more sense.
We got everybody back, we found a location, and we shot it, the mountain chase scene.
Whatever happens, don't stop!
What?
It was very difficult to go back to the same movie 4 years later because it is not a usual process. Now, at the end of the day, the result is good, but me as an actor, no, it wasn't very enjoyable. It's like eating leftovers.
I was talking to Sam Nicholson. We've all stayed friendly. We were chatting, and he was showing me through his facility, Stargate Digital. And we were looking at all this stuff, and he was showing me the work that he was doing. And I said, we could do some of this for Highlander. He said, absolutely. We went to Lionsgate and said, we want to redo the picture, bring it up to today's standards, and redo the special effects using today's absolute high-def, highest quality stuff. And everybody went, wow, that's a great idea. And new sound, and it's going to be a significantly different looking and sounding movie.
Just the fact that we're redoing it 15 years later, I've certainly never done that before.
It's matured and been re-enhanced the modern way. So you'll see, I think you'll see a very different film, more true to what it was originally intended.
I think the audience is happy about seeing what the director would have liked at the time.
Redemption for Highlander and for all of us.
Redemption arrived at the hands of time, and like any true hero, the Highlander has lived on to fight another day. For that, the filmmakers are grateful, not just for the journey, but for their romance with Argentina.
I've gone back any number of times because now I'm married to beautiful Diana. I go to Argentina a fair amount because I've just fallen in love with the country.
Yeah, I love to be on locations. Some location, it's fine to shoot there. But this location I went back to because it's such a great place. It was just great fun. It was an incredible souvenir.
We're most proud of the fact that the original version of the picture got finished, and what was enough material and was a strong enough concept that we had the ability to improve it, and that we still find it attractive and appealing enough to want to take it to its final destination. This is it. This is the best version of Highlander 2 that will ever be made.
It is the final chapter.
Oh, who's this?
Well, we'll let you know.
God damn it.